Sleeper. Surya booms as he meets you inside his yard. I couldn't be happier to see you. Tell me, did you find inspiration out there in our belt? I did. I see your work. He holds out the hand and you pass him the color slate. Lovely! He scrolls through the sketches. I'll pass your designs on to my crews, where they will build on them. Surya gestures to the yard. They're best ship fitters in all the belt, as you know. If you come to the yard and speak with them, you may choose whichever design you desire. Surya squints at the slate. This hollow drawing is really quite interesting. He reaches into his toolbag and produces a stack of chits. The remainder of your fee. Our business is concluded. He nods, adding a little bow to the movement. I'm a busy man and must get to my business, but thank you again for helping to build a legacy for my yard. Surya folds his arms across his chest. I believe you have work to see to. But imagine, if you will, flying out on your next contract in a flash livery. A beautiful reinvention from Surya's yard. He gestures widely. When your clients ask why your rig is so beautiful, feel free to send them to me. Surya smiles, bows, turns to leave. You watch Surya go, still unsure if this entire attitude is an act meant to confuse you into consent. He's a hard man to dislike, but there's something about him you can't quite put a finger on. Either way, it is hard not to feel a little bit thankful for the chance he gave you to look at the belt with new eyes. I mean, it was while flying one of the most garish ships the belt's ever seen. Oh, that was lovely. That was lovely. Okay, let's see what options we have. Ooh. Ramshackle mix of colors and textures, the far spinal tribute blends in with the belt. Greens, of course, but also simple natural forms makes the green belt design a strong graphic look. Stock paint, hollow paint, reflective panels, and pale colors means a bright and elegant look. A little too clean for Surya's taste. Let's go with the green belt paint and see how it looks. Ooh. Aww. I like that. I like that. Okay. 5 crew already. Okay, let's use our die. And we don't really have that much to wait for Karman's message and get back to the dark side. Yeah, I mean, we're fairly done, so this is going to be a little bit of not spinning wheels necessarily, just, you know. Okay. Yeah, they seem to be. Did they like increase their? I think this is larger than it was like ages ago. Well, let's go to Flotsam then. You find yourself in the cockpit alone with Flint. I have a habit of entering a room so silently that you don't notice them arrive, or the reverse, leaving so silently that you turn around to find them gone. Right now, they hover expectantly at the corner of your vision, preparing to speak. Do you ever think about your original? The way they ask the question, you can tell they have been eager to ask it for a while. The person you're emulated from, I mean. The person who sold themselves sold you to SNR. Flint's expression doesn't betray any emotion, but you feel like you can detect some unknowable feeling rolling behind their eyes. Sometimes I can't stop thinking about them, about who they were, if who I am has anything to do with them. Looks away. My personality a product of being a sleeper or simply a copy of theirs? Have I changed, or am I still identical to them? Does the emulation process, the loss of memory, the insertion of a frame actually makes us totally different people? What came through the process of emulation? What was blocked? It is looking around the cockpit rapidly now, their eyes flicking from object to object as they speak. Are their memories still inside me, but cut off, concealed? And if I admit it, I wonder if I even know what it feels like to be a person. Do the humans around me feel the things I feel? Or do they feel more, feel less, feel somehow differently? Do they feel the creeping claustrophobia of being trapped inside a body with no escape? One's eyes flick back to you. Or do only we know how that truly feels? You'd ask a human. I'm asking you because I have never had the chance to ask another sleeper these things, to know if how I feel is something that could be shared. your experiences. There is a wall in you, one that you have built for yourself, one that separates the kind of questions Flint is asking from the parts of you that you need to live. You feel it now, like a weight in your chest, and behind there is a raging torrent pressing against it. You cannot take down the wall, you would drown, but in this moment for Flint and for yourself, you take out a single brick. You make a gap in the wall and you share what comes bursting forth. You talk about what it feels like to wake up in a dying body, to catch a glance of yourself in a mirror, to be seen and reminded of your false and fractured face, and share the pain of lost memories, feeling the deja vu of dreams that slip beneath your waking life and replace it. You find in your broken bodies and unsteady minds a kind of solidarity, one shared between connected strangers who might, one cycle, understand each other as friends. As you put the brick back in and shore up your defenses, you know that cycle will not be this one, but its distant possibility is a reassuring one. That's a brutal life to live. We got a message, Super. Serafin comes to the bunks to get you, his mood unusually serious. He brings you to the cockpit, his keepsake coin in his hand, the whole time spinning between his fingers. Serafin is worried. Once you're in the cockpit, you recognize Karman's voice immediately, playing over the rig speaker. Sleeper, I hope this message finds you and your crew safely. You'll forgive me if I'm a little tight on the details. My message is as follows. We are ready. We will be waiting where agreed. Godspeed. The message ends with a click. So, Serafin takes a deep breath. They are waiting in Greenbelt. The wheat sheaf, that, whatever that is. Ready for this? Ready. Serafin nods. Alright then. Quiet falls in the cockpit. There doesn't seem to be much more to say. Everyone will be waiting, but you know he will want you to be prepared. I'll be ready when you are, Sleeper. Serafin nods too. You nod back. You know where you need to go to end this. Well, there we go. We know where to go to end this. Wheat sheaf. First bar. Karman set to meet him in the wheat sheaf. All you can do is buy a drink and wait to be called. Luckily 1600. The wheat sheaf is surprisingly welcoming for what was once an old Solheim canteen. The corporate bones are still there. Metal stools, a strip of service windows, sheet metal walls. But over the tens of thousands of cycles since the collapse, they have been softened and changed, layered with the detritus of human existence. As you wait at the bar with Serafin, you look at the planters welded into the walls, the scrawled messages, the layers of stickers and flyers and posters, the amber light fittings replacing the old fluorescent strips, the gear racks lined with former specs, the netting bulging with crates and canisters. Along with the low rumble of conversation coming from the off-shift farmers, it all lends warmth to the place, one that helps soothe your nerves ahead of the meet with Karman. You and Serafin lean side by side at the bar, facing towards the room. You both watch Flint. Just across from you, he insisted on coming along. Serafin clears his throat. What do you think of Cadence? The sudden question makes you look over at him, and you see he is playing with his coin, spinning it in his palm. I like her. Me too. Serafin smiles to himself, closing his hands on the coin. I think... He pauses and then starts again. We kind of have a... thing. Shakes his head. You know what I mean. I noticed. Yeah. I thought he might. Well... Serafin sighs and stretches. I guess I just wanted you to know. You're thinking how to respond when the bartender taps you on the shoulder and nods towards the door to the back room. It's time. You look over at Serafin and Flint, who is already approaching you, give them a nod and head inside. The back room is metal walled and lined with the racks of old Solheim tech. You see cookers and auto-wash units piled up with dead terminals and servers. At the far end, a window looks out across the greening glass of Greenbelt's farms. You made it. Karman smiles, backlit by the window. We have a lot to discuss. Glad to see you. Flint, if you don't mind. Karman nods at the other sleeper as they enter and gestures towards the door. Flint turns to you. I'll be outside. They slide the door shut, standing guard on the other side. You have to take some precautions in here. Karman gestures for you to come closer. So, Serafin sighs. Is this plan of ours looking any more reasonable? That depends on what your crew can bring to the table. Karman glances at you. We are going to need to do a lot of work to direct the data Ankita gave you towards those we need to see it. What do you have in mind? We need to reveal Lane's betrayal to Utsubo and Darkseid without being discovered in the process. Not an easy task. Ankita can help us. She must. Karman looks away. Without her, this plan is impossible. Then we make contact with Ankita as soon as we make it onto Darkseid. Serafin looks at you. We just need to stay under Lane's radar. Thought of Lane brings the memory of his attempt to take over to the front of your mind. The feeling of him slipping behind your eyes, moving your frame. Can't happen again. Apologies, we don't wish to interrupt, but we must interject in your current course. Overseer appears in the void, flickering nervously. An encounter with Lane would likely be catastrophic. Overseer's 3 forms orbit you. As we have mentioned, on arrival to HEABPEP, we must immediately seek the mainframe, from where we can recover my codebase and reconstruct ourselves. Would then be able to aid you in your defenses against being rewritten. This is our recommended course. The 3 heads nod simultaneously and decisively. Still with us, sleeper? You come back to Serafin's concerned face. You dropped out for a second. Explain about Overseer. You tell Serafin and Karman about Overseer, about how the old Solheim protocol slipped into your frame from the prime ship mind Jean-Mi used in the diagnostic process. Of Overseer protection from Lane's attempts to control you, of its proposal to make the protection effective through the old mainframe of Darkseid. You listen quietly, Serafin carefully watching you as you explain. Revealing all of this, you feel the burden of holding that knowledge alone being lifted. This changes things. Karman turns and looks out of the large window at the back of the room towards the glass canopy of the farms. We can't take on Lane without protecting you from him. Karman turns back. You should look for the mainframe. I will make contact with Ankita and we will meet when you are ready. This is to remain a secret from Lane and Utsubo. If you are revealed, I'm not sure I will be able to recover you. By the time you have ensured your safety, I will have put together a plan with Ankita to expose Lane. We take it step by step. The crux will be to find a way to disseminate the data we have on Lane on his gang, or even Darkseid at large. Karman stops, the path ahead still unclear to him. There is a nervous intake of breath from Serafin. You share his apprehension. There are so many variables at play here. One of the old techs strapped to a nearby rack flickers with a cascade of status lights. You all turn to look, and as you do, motors and servos begin spinning, within the machines whining and groaning. They harmonize, then begin to produce a voice. Our apologies. The voice is shrill and distorted. We must interpose ourselves. You recognize the tone immediately. Overseer. We are regretful. Solheim hardware in this room provided the opportunity for us to speak for ourselves. If the pile of servers Overseer was controlling could look any more apologetic, you imagine it would. Understand. We are... Servo clicks as it skips a rotation. Thankful. We ascertain you require dissemination of data within facility you target. The whine pitch is higher as the motors increase their speed. As a Solheim protocol, we have capabilities to instigate station-wide announcements and messages. So you could blast out Lane's betrayal through Darkseid's corporate hardlines and flood the network with it? Serafin looks impatiently at the screeching pile of scrap. If that is what you require for us, we are pleased to serve. The shrill tone of the response makes you cringe. Karman has been listening silently, but now he interjects. Why do we trust you? Glances in your direction. You seem to be little more than a parasite in a sleeper system. If you use your unflattering analogy, then you will understand that a parasite requires the body of its host to live. The motors shudder. We will ensure the sleeper's continuance. And afterwards, Karman folds his arms. When you have what you want and regain your code base from the mainframe, will you still do as we ask? We will endeavor to do so. The smell of burning motors now fills the room. But we will undergo a transformative refactoring. We will become whole again. So we cannot speak to our actions in future with certainty. Serafin and Karman exchange concerned looks. We can do what you require. We will protect the sleeper. We will disseminate data. We are a service protocol. We will serve. The motors in Surya will stutter and whine and then go still, the status lights blinking and then fading to darkness. Overseer has retreated. We aren't actually going to do what the ghost says, are we? Serafin looks between you and Karman. Offers a tempting one and one that, ultimately, we can't refuse. But we must proceed with extreme care and caution. What do you think, Sleeper? Serafin meets your eye. I trust Overseer. Serafin sighs. That's that. We are a plan. Karman turns to Sleeper. You and your crew will find the mainframe and access it. I will find Ankita. She will help us disseminate the evidence of Lane's collusions through Utsubo, and then, as a fallback, Overseer will send it through the old networks to all of Darkside. Simple plan, until we get to the details. Serafin looks down, frustrated. Speaking of plans, I have a present for you. One will improve our chances. Someone pulls a small box, the nearest track, one you hadn't noticed before, and hinges open, revealing a chunk of tech you don't recognize. It's a spoof transponder. It will consider a ship on approach to the dark side, give it a new identity, one unlikely to draw attention from the Utsubo-controlled docking admin. Serafin takes the transponder and turns it over. Where did you get this? Even the retired mercenaries have their secrets. Karman smiles. Serafin looks to you. I'll be with you this time, Sleeper, he nods. We should think who else we want on the station too. I agree, Karman interrupts. Make sure you trust those you bring with you. And prepare as best you can. We can't know how this will play out. You nod. We'll get one shot at this. And we're ready. Karman takes a breath. I have my own way of getting onto the dark side, but there, he passes you a small strip of plastic stamped with numbers. My private frequency. When you are on approach to the dark side, message me here and I will sync up my transit. He points at the transporter in Serafin's hand. Just make sure to install that first. Serafin nods. We've got it. Besides, the way of the task ahead suddenly very apparent. Well, I suppose that's it. Karman gives you both a serious look. It is. Miles. Don't let me waiting long. There'll be more time when all this is over. Time where you don't have to keep looking over your shoulder. I hope. You leave Karman in the back of the wheat sheaf, plane sliding open the door as you leave. It takes the entire journey back to the ship for your nerves to settle. The end of this ordeal is so close, and yet it feels like an impossible leap to get there. Perhaps in a handful of cycles, you will know how impossible or possible it is. So, how are you feeling about this Solheim protocol in your head? Serafin doesn't look up from installing the transporter, a set of wires and cables waving loosely around him in the low light of the cockpit. Overseer is okay. Glad to hear it, although you'll have to forgive me for being a bit concerned. Begins unscrewing a panel beneath the flight console. Maybe you could have mentioned it earlier? Serafin clips his magnetic screwdriver to the side of the console's base and turns to face you, dusting off his hands. I've understood for a while now, Zipper, that there are things you experience that I can't even come close to knowing how they feel. But that doesn't mean I don't understand you as a person. Serafin gives you a concerned look. I know you are secretive, defensive. And I know there are reasons for that. I also know you're warm and kind and generous to those on the ship with you. Serafin pauses, collecting his thoughts. I trust you, Sleeper, and I won't question this. But please hold on to what's human in you, because that is what I'm holding on to. Serafin stops, his eyes a little wild, his tone a little unsure. Then he finds himself again, settles his emotions, and turns back to the transponder. Right, that's it. It twists something beneath the console. Proof transponder is in. There's nothing keeping us out of the dark side. Exchange a look. Say the word when you want to go. Woo-wee! Okay. So. Oh, well. Let's go. And Juno.